And we are live. Hi, everyone who's here. Let us know that you are here. How's everybody doing today, this Mother's Day? I know that it takes a while. It takes some time before I start to see comments or I start to see people. So we'll just give it a minute or so to have people join us. Hello, Lifestyle with Elizabeth. Thank you for joining. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. If you join in, please send a message in the chat just so that we know. I recognize that it takes some time for the comments to come through, for it to start getting visible. So please just send a message. Let us know where you're joining from. Is it Mother's Day where you are? Because I know it's Mother's Day in North America.
We have more than 100 Mother's Day in a year.
It's not even enough. It's not
It's
enough.
not.
Anybody that is fighting that, no, you're fighting the wrong war. It's okay. We can be celebrated once every month. We don't mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. Please leave a comment. Let us know if you can see us, if you can hear us. Okay, we're just going to give it another minute. Okay, Elizabeth, you're joining from Regina. Thank you for joining us. Welcome. How are we all doing today? Okay, I can see some other comments coming in now. Hello, Titi Lola. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you very much for joining us. Okay, Jamila. So we don't spend too much time. We'll be welcoming people and greeting them as they come in. I'm going to turn this over to you now to do an introduction of yourself, and we can get this conversation started. Like I don't think there's a more appropriate time to have this conversation than today. And it was not planned. It just turned out to be a coincidence that Mother's Day was the best time to talk about this. So that's
And you
what we're
should be
doing.
introducing me, sis. How many years later?
If I introduce you, people might be confused. We are sisters,
Even
but I
if I
cannot explain
introduce
how.
myself, I'll be confused because I don't even know where to start and where to stop.
You people can see what I'm surrounded by. Abi, we don't know how to introduce ourselves in a sane way.
Oh my goodness.
Okay,
Thank you so
okay.
much, Marina, for
Please go
having
ahead.
me. Good evening, good afternoon, Marina family. My name is Jamila Daura. I am based in the state of Georgia, United States of America. I've been here for 10 years. This is my 10th year. I'm a mom of two from the northern part of Nigeria, and I'm married to a Yoruba prince.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm an IT professional, freelance IT professional, but I do have passion for skincare, lifestyle, and wellness. And I've been a content creator, a YouTuber for what? How many years now? Since 4 years. This is my fourth year doing that as
Yes.
well.
It was 4 years since I met you. Like, was that when you
Yeah,
were
yeah. It's
Oh,
been
okay.
4 years together. So yeah, I've been doing that for 4 years now, and that has bettered where I am today, the Wholesome Lifestyle Network, which is a community that I just started, or I converted my existing community into, to be able to connect women around the world, just to have a community and a sense of belonging for either spiritual growth, career, and self awareness and advocacy.
Hmm.
Let's keep it there.
Absolutely. Okay. That's amazing. Like, that's an amazing profile. I know you, and I know that you do a lot more. You're just trying to be conservative here, so I'll leave it like that. Like you said, have good manners today.
Every day you
So
have good manners.
some days my head no correct, but it's part of what we're going to talk about today, like the days
Exactly.
where we lose our minds, especially
Mm-hmm.
as moms in the diaspora, moms who are living in countries other than our countries of birth or our countries of origin or whatever that looks like for everybody. So you have been in the States for 10 years. So if I could take you back 10 years, do you want to share a bit about what that journey was? Like, were you excited to move? Was it a struggle for you to move? And what was the initial adjustment like for you when you first arrived?
Wow. So we talked about this with the Mister few about last week or so, and I was recalling how the first day I found out that I was going to be living in the States. And it was during the time we were planning for our honeymoon, and he asked me a question. He was like, "Oh, can you ask your mom if US citizens require visa to Dubai?" And foolish me, I asked my mom, and my mom told me because she was a frequent traveler then. And he when she told me, I went to tell him, and I was like, "Oh, who is traveling?" And he was like, "Oh, for our honeymoon." I was like, "Are you a I mean, you'd think that I should know, or this is something I should have asked when we were dating and planning to get married." But it just never occurred to me because my parents travel very frequently. So I assumed that him traveling in and out of the US was just a privilege. He had like frequent traveler and all that. And yeah, so when he told me, and I was like, okay, wait, let's take it back a bit. So you are a US citizen. So when I come here, when we come, what is the plan? Is it that I was coming to come and stay here? Because we were planning this whole life in Nigeria, and he wanted to actually move to Nigeria at the time that we met. So I was convinced that, okay, I was going to live in Nigeria. We were planning the house, the kind of privacy I want, the kind of domestic help, driver, clean, cooker, and all those things. We were planning all that, and I was excited for it. But when I discovered that, okay, oh, he said he wasn't getting a job in Nigeria, he was tired of the distance, but the plan is we go to the US at some point to come back and all that. I was like, oh, so your intention is to carry me out of Nigeria to come and go and suffer, to do this and all that. I didn't know my dad was listening, and I I I was going crazy, like really going hammer at it. And my dad, after the conversation, my dad called me, was like, "Are you okay? Are you seriously okay?" And that was the first realization that I had, that I was actually leaving Nigeria for good. Okay, it was marriage that was bringing me to Nigeria. Unlike what we have today, that people are leaving Nigeria for different reasons, most especially in search of that greener pasture. I was leaving Nigeria to follow a man I loved, I married, and that was it for me. I was coming to live a marital life. And when I came, I remember arriving at JFK, and I got into his mom's car that he was using, one rickety Toyota like that. And we were driving through the roads of New York, and he got into a pothole, and I hit my head, and I was like, "Is this the America you brought me?"
As if he's the one that's supposed to fix the road, Jamila.
I was like, "Is this the is this the America you brought me to?" So at that point, I don't know if it was dawning on me that this is my new place. This is about to be my new life. And the reaction I could have was to like carry it out on him and start complaining immediately about how America is not for me, is not it for me. I don't like it here. This thing is everything was just wrong at that time. And I was blessed to have had family that could travel all the time. And within 3 months of me coming here, my parents came to visit me all over again. My siblings came, and yeah, I wasn't really shocked. There was nothing spectacular for me, honestly, to say about America. I was just taking it one day at a time, because my priority then was starting my
Your
marital
family,
life
yeah.
and building my life with this man. So that was the only thing I had in front of me.
Mhm.
And even though I still don't like it here, but I'm still here 10 years
10 years
later.
later, you still
Yeah,
don't like. So you have not found one part that you like that you can just hold on to and say, okay, this is my silver lining. I'll keep my eyes on this thing, and
no,
everything else will be
because
fine.
I was raised in a very big family. There was never a time there was nobody in our household. There was never a time we didn't have people. I will tell you this, my first 4 years in America, I had help. they were shipping help for me from Nigeria here
Are
to
you
like
serious?
domestic staff and all that. I had that privilege till COVID happened and poured Sansan in my gari, you know. I had that this because it was just the biggest part for me was the loneliness. And he was used to it because they are just a family of what, five, him and his siblings and two parents, you know, his parents. They were not that big, unlike myself with that very big family. You grow up, you're hearing noise here, there, that. So while it was really okay for him, it wasn't. And that is still my biggest struggle living here. The fact that I can't just wake up and see my siblings or my mom and hold on to them and hug them and chit chat. I I'm married to someone that can go to bed around 8 p.m. and I'll be in bed 10, 11 because that is not what I'm used to.
Mm-hmm.
I could be in Nigeria and still be out within my with my family and we'll be gisting and we have something to talk about. But this lonely life is not for me. I
Yeah.
am a people's person, and that is one thing that is not ever going to make America sit. Taking away the people from me is still my biggest struggle.
I can
Yeah.
totally relate with that 100%. And when you talk about the family sizes where you come from and where your spouse comes from, it's almost like you're describing Mr. Eteng and I, because
Yeah,
he grew up in how many siblings, same household, where if they're going to travel, it's when you gather all the cousins is to fill one bus. Only my
exactly.
father's children were 16, first of all. 16.
Okay, we are half of that. We're seven.
We are 16 children that my father had. Now
Wow.
all 16 of us are married. So right now, without children, we are like a
Mhm.
32-man army right now. Then
You
when you
know,
add the
my aunt was
grandchildren,
turning 50. She turned 50 in November, and they were planning a small party, surprise party for her. And my older sister was putting the guest list together. And just from my grandmom, that's my maternal grandmom alone, the family, all her daughters and her kids and grandchildren, we were 60.
oh wow.
We were
I'm sure if
60.
we
And
do
my
that,
sister, my sister was like, okay, how do we now compress this to 100? Because just
if
this immediate
family is only
family,
60, then
it's only 60. So where do we even begin to cancel out? So yeah, big family is big for me. Yeah.
yeah, I can totally relate with that. So coming from that kind of family size to now marrying to a family where it's like you're starting your own family again, family is
Yeah.
now small, and then you move out of Nigeria. I had a hard time leaving Nigeria as well. I've shared this on my channel before, but my husband had a hard time convincing me to leave because
Wow.
that family thing was big for me as well. And I was very pro Nigeria, like, no,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, will be the change Nigeria needs. I still feel like a part of my heart is still in
It's
Nigeria.
still
Like
there.
I'm
Yeah.
still very pro Nigeria. I'm just
Yeah.
not on ground being pro
Yeah.
Nigeria, right? So I had a hard time leaving. But eventually I just thought, you know what? It's not like if I move out of Nigeria, someone is now going to take my passport and say, you no longer are Nigeria, you no longer are welcome here. It's always going to be home,
Yeah,
one way
it
or the
is.
other. So
It
the
is.
fact that I live in a different place doesn't make me less Nigerian,
True.
and that's why I opened up and softened to the idea of trying to just, okay, let's experience life in a different place and just see what can come out of there. So I can totally 100% relate to that struggle of, so I'm going to walk away from all of this I know and then come to this place. And then my own, I now came to Canada. I now came to Saskatchewan, where people used to wear all their clothes at once, where you will see temperature that is 40, except that there's minus in front. Like, I
Yeah.
came from plus 36 Abuja sun to minus 50. Like, are people
Yeah.
supposed to even live here? It was hard. It was hard. The initial
Yeah.
adjustment was hard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so let's talk about what that did to you, right? As a mom in diaspora, you mentioned that you had help, which is a privilege that not a lot of people have. That's one
Yeah.
major thing that women struggle with when they move abroad. Like,
Mm.
we no longer have the help. You don't wake up on Saturday morning, your house is clean, the laundry is done, your car is washed, the garden is mowed, and things like that. So those struggles compound some of the issues that we face when we live in countries other than our home countries. So when did you have you ever struggled
Oh yes.
mentally with the move, with all the adjustment that you had to make? Would you say you identify, like, when did it start? When did you first notice that something was off or you were struggling, and how did you tackle that?
Okay, so three things, right? There's going to be personality, myself. I'm that person that nobody has diagnosed me with OCD, but I'm that person of order and organization. I'm also that person that, training, home training in Nigeria,
Mm-hmm.
if a Nigerian mother should raise you, there is nothing you cannot do in this world, except you're not ready to do it. So I had that home training. Number three, I now married a last born. So you can see where I'm coming from. So when we started to live together, which wasn't really short from marriage to joining him, it wasn't really long rather. And I remember joining him, and one of the first thing that showed me that, Jamila, you're in trouble, was when was when I had to share blanket. That one was something else. Then in the morning, somebody opened the kitchen cabinet and left it open, and carried out spoon and used it and left it on the countertop. And here I am coming from somewhere, being someone that loves orderliness and loves things a certain way. And even though I never spoke about it, because again, I saw how my parents live their lives, and but what our parents will never experience, or my mom will never experience, is that, or she'll never understand my feelings or emotions when it comes to me always saying, I'm tired, I need help, I'm tired, I need help. It's because she had help. She had all these people, from her siblings that she raised to the help that my dad provided and paid for, up to date and everything. She had all that, drivers and all that. So me coming here, in short, Marina, I refused to drive myself. I feigned that I didn't know how to drive, because I was not ready to start to being a driver. Like, I'll need something and I'll just sit down in the house and I won't go out until he comes back and he will drive me to go get that, because I was coming from a place where I was driven to places that I wanted to go. And when he came into the house, and all these little behaviors or personalities that started unfolding, it reminded me of something my dad told me. He was like, and it's something I share all the time, Smalley, all this good side that you're seeing is what you people are showing yourselves. The reality of your personality is going to set in once you start living together, and you are going to see somebody that you be like, where was this person before?
Mm-hmm.
Why did you not show me this? This is who you are, and all that. So another thing that my parents kind of made sure of was to try to make sure that I'm always at home, yearly basis, so that they can see me. Even though they can come, they still want me to come back home just to reassess my
Yeah.
situation. And I have a health condition. So all these things, when pregnancy happened the first time, and my health was now amplified. The doctors made it very clear that there was a 50-50 chance that I will have this child and I won't have this child. And that was where my parents were like, okay, they need to start sending help down to me, and I won't be able to really carry this on by myself. Yes, the adjustment for my husband was even more difficult, because he was the last born, or he's the last born of his family. So there was just almost zero responsibility or sense of responsibility, in the sense of being responsible for someone,
Mm-hmm.
having to serve someone,
Yeah.
and all that. That even though I had the life of being served at some point in my life, I still know how to serve people, because I had older ones. I had all these people, I have what, 5 siblings that I had to take care of, I was responsible for. So there was this leadership that I have that kind of came through when we had to make certain decisions, certain orderliness in the house. And if I tell him that, babe, this has to go this way, and he's like, okay, I'll do it. So at some point I had to even nickname him worst case scenario, because you can want something this minute and it's going to get done in 3 years or in 3 months. Or
All of them
yeah,
are in the same WhatsApp group, sis. All of
yeah,
them.
exactly. So these were the kind of, like, the little things was what started my own fear. Like, is this how I'm going to keep picking up after this grown man? Is this how do I get him to understand that we need some sort of balance between
Mm-hmm.
how we run our home? Then when the kids eventually started coming, and we started having help, it still did not look like work for him or for me. Like, it looked like to him is that I wasn't really doing much because there was help, there was that support, and he just goes to work and come back. But when we stopped having help during COVID, was where everything just
Yeah.
opened up. Everything just opened up, and we started to have that difficult conversation. This is what I need from you. This is what I need you to do. This is how I need you to help me, and I need you to support me, because if you keep letting me do all these things by myself, one, you probably would lose it with your kids. You wouldn't. I mean, I don't mind doing everything. I don't mind being a super woman, super mom, because I also want you to be a super dad. I also
Exactly.
want my kids or our kids to think about it and be like, there is no other person in this world that can help me or give me what I need other than my dad or my mom. So you have to come out of that being that person that was protected and served, and that last born thing. You have to push it aside and actually wear these very big shoes that you have of being husband, provider, and stop just shielding yourself and all that. And I mean, it sounds like I'm summarizing everything, but between the year from the first year of our marriage to the point where it started becoming amplified, I had already bottled a lot. I
Yeah.
had already bottled a lot, and but I wasn't saying anything. There was nobody to have that kind of conversations with. You just to come up smiling and carrying on every day. So long as I survived today, I believe I'm going to survive tomorrow.
Wow.
And if I can do this today, if I was able to do this amidst all the pain, my health, and all those things, then I can still do it tomorrow. And I think another thing that awakened him was one doctor's appointment that I had. And the doctor kind of talked about and insisted you really need to not stress yourself, because if you keep stressing yourself, you will find it hard to get better. But while he tries, it can never still be the same. And our personalities, like I said, I admit I know my personality. It is hard to please. I don't expect him to be able to understand fully how when things are not in order affects me.
Mhm.
And but I try to create that balance and meet also caution myself and be very conscious of how my personality affects him as well, and let it not just be one way situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're so alike in so many ways, Jamila. Just listening to you talk, it's like you're describing my life. Especially this part where you say when things are not in order, how it affects you. I feel physically sick when my
Yeah.
space is not in order.
Yes.
I get like physical, it shows physically for me when
Yeah.
there's just so much I need to do, like things I need to put away, and then I start to snap at everybody. I'm like, look, I'm not going to feel this way if sometimes you remove something from somewhere, put it back in
Hmm.
that spot.
Hmm.
It's when you take something from here and put it here, that's when clutter
Yeah.
arises. Can
Yeah.
you, if we're saying that all of us are going to live in this house and we want to maintain peace and order, it is going to be joint responsibility to take care
Exactly.
of this space. Don't
Yeah.
just pick it from one place, drop it in another place, and then all of you are upset when I start to snap. If you
Yeah.
put it where it should be, I would not have had to snap in the first place. So we're very alike, especially me. I've never had help. I've never had help sent to me. The most I have had for help is at some point we had somebody who will come in to clean the house, but
Hmm.
it's just to clean, like clean the kitchen, clean the bathrooms,
Probably
clean
a
just
once in a month thing.
yes, maybe like once in a month thing.
Yeah.
I don't expect that they'll now come and help me arrange plates in the kitchen or where things
Yeah.
should be. That one is going to be our responsibility as maintenance. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I totally relate with that. There was something that you mentioned that I thought was very important, which is the place of how our children see the dynamics between husband and wives. Like it is important to want to do everything as a super mom. Me, I've burnt my super mom t-shirts, by the way. I don't really do it again. Scam. I'm not doing again.
I'm
Please,
sending you
right
another
now,
one.
I'm the mom for soft life. I'm not doing super mom again. That
Uh,
club, I denounced my membership. I don't tear my card. So
I feel you on that. Yeah,
you
we're on the
know
same
it
page. Yeah.
sometimes we need to share that the need to want to do everything perfectly, the need for everything to be in place all the time, because the truth is it's not a sustainable venture.
No,
Everything is not going to be okay all the time, and we need to find what is our deal breaker. if 100% is perfection, if I have 50%, am I going to be okay? If I have 60%, is it going to be okay for me? At what
Mhm.
point does this house, what percentage of upside down is going to tick me off? Now, I've
Absolutely.
gotten comfortable with going to bed when I sink, because nobody is coming to come and carry cane and say, show me your sink, why are there dirty place, and flog me. That's not going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
But I find that if I continue to insist that the kitchen must be clean, I'm taking away time that I can just goof around with my
Yeah.
family and just be happy. They will not remember that plates were in the sink. But where I was going with this was where our husbands come in.
Mm-hmm.
So that picture of mommy is the one who does order in this house. Mommy is the one who insists or makes sure everything is where it's supposed to be. And they never see daddy step up to that. Sometimes we don't realize that it has a negative effect on them. It
True.
has a negative effect on our sons, because you are painting a picture of this is the responsibility of a father, this is the responsibility of a mother, and they
Mm-hmm.
will never understand. If they end up in a family where they have wives who don't do it like their moms, that's why you now start to hear things like, but our mothers did this and they
It
didn't
is.
complain. We
True.
were drowning. We did not
Exactly.
have where to complain. That's why we didn't complain. It's not because it was not hard. The fact
Yeah.
that we carried it did not mean it was not heavy. It was
Yeah.
heavy,
That is where you
you
draw
know.
the line between
So
being
we are
um
exactly. So
no, I
we're
was going to
thinking of
say that that is where we draw the line between being submissive, subservient, and subjugated in relationship.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So we have to manage that picture of what we're painting to our children, or what a norm is. For our daughters, are you now saying this is going to be your life? Like, because sometimes when I look at my mom, that's what I was thinking. Like, actually, this is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Banker say if mom buy, all of them will move on. That's the truth. I heard a story of a woman like that who did everything. She did not have employment outside of the house. She did mom, driver, took the children everywhere, practice here, swimming here, basketball here. She got sick and she died.
Wow.
After the funeral, maybe like a week later, the husband had hired a chef, he had hired a driver, and he had a nanny, he had a housekeeper. He hired 4 people to do the work that one person was doing. So you know that this one person was doing what 4 people. You hired 4 people to replace one. It means that the whole time, that woman could have had a chef, she could have had a driver, she could have had that nanny, she could have had a housekeeper, and she would supervise.
Yeah.
She probably would have been alive. But no, it took 4 people to replace that one person. So we all just have to manage what we are presenting.
True.
While it looks like it is sustainable today, what picture are you now painting for your children? What are you selling to them? Because the truth is, our children need to see balance. They need to see family as teamwork, as mommy and daddy do things together. Right now, there are some things that when my children say, oh, mommy, we want to eat this, can daddy make it? Because I've admitted, oh, Jamila, Mr. Eten's fried rice is still better than my own. It's okay. Nobody has died.
Up to now.
Yeah, I can't
Okay.
compete again. So some days I'm the one cooking, they come around, they help me. Some other days when it's time for fried rice or stir fry or grilling
Daddy
or
is
all those things
making
that
it.
daddy does, daddy takes over. So my kids are seeing balance. So God forbid that one day my Jeremy will now marry a woman and say men don't cook. Who showed him that? He saw differently at home.
Mm-hmm.
Or Daphne will now enter into a family where it's like the woman is like the slave. Nobody showed her that.
No.
So we have to be careful and manage those pictures as it relates to our second generation. But
Mm-hmm.
let's not talk about second generation yet. Let's focus on ourselves, because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, you are somebody's child first
Oh
before you
yeah.
become somebody's wife and
I'm
mother.
very selfish like
And we
that.
cannot come and go and die because we married.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So please tell me how you are doing. Those of you that are still in a strong woman club, how is the meeting going? Because I know they do again.
Absolutely.
So how
Mm-hmm.
are you doing it now? Like, how are you prioritizing yourself when it comes to like your self-care, your mental health, and all of those things that refuel you? How do you prioritize yourself now in this our seemingly busy world where it's like there's so many things competing for our time, competing for our attention? How do you prioritize yourself?
You know me, you've known me for what, 4 years now, and you know that if there's anything that is centered to myself is self-care. And it was one thing I made very clear when we started to live together. And from the get-go, foundation of the kind of life that you want with the man or the woman you're married to It's important that you set that tone right from day one. It's not midway that you start demanding things. It's not at the end of the journey that is when you start demanding things or wishing that I wish I did this, I wish I did it this way. And I mean, there are times where you have that how will I put it, that time that it will come. It will
Mm-hmm.
come like how window of opportunity, something will happen and it will trigger actions to be taken. One thing I started with, I think I've mentioned it here the first time I was on your platform, was that I used to, Fridays are my self-care days because I believe that I cannot give from an empty cup.
Mm-hmm.
Even when it was just both of us before the kids started coming, I made sure that we went out on Fridays, or we did takeout, or on Fridays, and we watched movies and we talked to ourselves. And once the kids, how I have been able to sustain this in the last 10 years is really surprising, because I know that it's almost like a privilege. Like, how many of women my age can actually stand up and just say that I'm not going to cook for you on Friday, even when your parents are around or my parents are around, or when with kids? Like, how have I been able to sustain that? But I made it very clear that while it looks like, oh, when you never go hungry, the kids will never go hungry, I make sure of that there is an alternative, a good alternative to
Mm-hmm.
that, and to fill in this space. But as we grew older, the responsibility, it beginning to tell more on me, and the burden and the tiredness and the feeling like I need to start actually focusing on myself and doing more for myself. So I figured I need more time.
Yeah.
So Friday isn't enough anymore. I now have Tuesdays added to added to those to that self-care day, where I focus on business, I focus on other things, just because I am available, almost readily available in the house as a stay-at-home mom that is into freelance kind of job, does not mean that I am accessible just like that.
I
You
agree.
have to also accord me some level of acknowledgement and respect in regards to my own pursuits and the things that I'm doing. I advocate for things for myself. It looked very good, or it looks very good, when you see women, the soccer moms, you know,
Hockey moms in Canada is such a
everything. They
big
have the
thing. Oh my
van, they
God.
throw their kids in morning to evening, like everything. But when do you actually take time to break for yourself? Do
True.
you actually get that break that you need? Because that mental breakdown, it is real.
It is.
And when we talked about the balance between roles and responsibility of parents, right? And there is that root shock that comes in, when, most especially for couples that move abroad with children, and when the man just wakes up and dresses up, because I don't know how it is over there. Over here in the US, you find men going out 6 a.m., 5 a.m., driving out of the house to go to work. And they don't even know how the kids get to school. They don't know how the kids come back. They don't know how the kids do their homework, but they still come back home to warm food.
Mm-hmm.
And if you move to this part of the country, like, or the world, where in Nigeria there was help, even if it's one person, there
Yeah.
was that help. But you come back, you come to this part, and there is no single help for you. There is nothing that you can count on. And it looks normal for a start. Oh, I'm supporting my husband. I'm supporting my husband. I'm being there for my children. But one day you're going to snap.
Yeah.
Something is going to snap in you, and you're going to have that realization that, and you begin to ask yourself, what have I been doing?
True.
What life have I been living in this part of the world? Like, what exactly is wrong with me? Am I not a woman of purpose anymore? Do I not have dreams? What about me?
Yeah.
And
What
you find
about
out
me?
that
Very important
you
question
are
to ask.
not a factor. You have not been part of the equation all along.
Gentlemen, sorry, let me stop you there. So that thing, do you think that it's a function of what we were told, or we are the ones that get to that point where we take on the responsibility of taking care of everybody else and not even putting ourselves on the priority list? Where do you think that comes from?
I think is us, in the bid to overcompensate. If I say that I was told that way, I'll be lying on my parents, because half of the work I'm doing today, I remember when my mom stopped doing all those things. Like, I did not, there was never a time I did not grow up to see my mom being served, even though she was very much present. The woman resigned from her job just to make sure she was at home. But my dad made sure that even though she was at home, there was help while he was away. But for me, my life is not like hers. Environment changed it.
Yeah,
And because I feel like I don't want to let this family that I have down, I need to be 120% more. So I am overcharging my mind, overcharging myself, and doing things because I don't want to feel like I have failed.
exactly. That
I
and
don't want,
sometimes that responsibility can be heavy. Like the
it's
burden
heavy.
that it comes with can really be heavy, and you don't realize that you're crushing yourself under the weight of expectations that sometimes
Exactly.
we are the ones that created those
Oh
expectations.
yes,
We are the
because
ones that created that pressure
we
for
don't
ourselves,
again, to be fair on the men, sometimes we've some women have not even had these conversations with their spouses.
completely unaware.
There is actually, we
Yeah,
just get married and we don't talk about what kind of life do you want us to have, what kind of, this is the kind of life and I fancy, this is the kind of life I want us to have. We just assume that traditional role that we feel like our parents never had the conversation, but they did.
they did.
They did. We
Some of
just
them did.
we
Yeah,
weren't there when they had it. And while they worked on what was available to them and made what with what they had to work for them, we don't have that kind. And we don't talk. We are not talking
true.
about the right things. We are just talking about how to either secure the bag and the bag and the bag and the bag. But once you secure all this bag, are you securing it that a time will come you won't be using it to heal your heart, and instead
Exactly.
of enjoying it the way you
Exactly.
should actually enjoy it, and you're just paying for going out to go see someone to talk to just to unburden yourself. I didn't even
Absolutely.
understand the idea of mental health consciousness till I lost my first child. This was where I actually had the one-on-one first time. I had to open up and pour everything out. And trauma trauma resides somewhere in our hearts.
True that.
And the day that you break down is not necessarily the breakdown of what is happening right now. It's probably something that has happened in the
In the
past
past, yeah.
that you break down, and all of a sudden you become vulnerable. We are afraid to actually even become vulnerable, and there is nothing wrong with being vulnerable. My mom hates the word vulnerable. She doesn't like that I say that, oh, my son is vulnerable, he's susceptible to certain things. She doesn't like to hear it. But at the end of the day, the stigma that comes with actually asking for help, there is that stigma. We don't want to feel like we've let people down. We don't want to be termed as, oh, we are not the spiritual
Not, yeah.
woman, the
You're
woman that
not
was
strong, you're
described
not
in the book.
resilient, all of those things.
Exactly. So we I think most of the part is that we do this damage to ourselves even before it's being done to us. And I believe that when people actually begin to open up and talk about expectation and actually managing those expectations, just to go back on something that you said about balancing responsibility between the spouse, the father and the mother. A time came where my kids, I felt like they were really, really afraid of me, because there was a time I was just that angry bird mom. I was just, and they were at the stage where they were so stubborn to, you can't get them to do anything. And daddy is soft daddy with them.
Yes, daddy.
Daddy is
Good
amazing.
cop, the good cop
And
parent.
exactly, so they want something, and I'll be seated and they'll be like, mommy is sitting down. And it was, they don't want to come because mommy is sitting down. So most especially my younger child, he would call his dad, or follow me downstairs, I need to get something. And his dad would be like, go, mommy is there. And he's like, no, mommy is downstairs. And that is because for the most part I was the one that was putting the order in. I was the one taking care of discipline. I was the one telling them what to do, how to do, and all those things. And it started to build fear in them. For me, like, they don't want to be. And I didn't see that. The day I came to that, I had this one-on-one conversation with my daughter. She was 7 years then. And I called her, I was like, is there anything about mommy that you don't like? Is there anything about me that you don't like? And she was like, she would wish I talk to her differently when she's done something wrong, and that she makes mistakes, she knows, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with her making mistakes. Marina, I cried that day. I cried. And here I was thinking that I was breaking generational this thing of
Patterns,
not
yeah,
being the kind of harsh parent, hard parent that our parents were to us, like being more available emotionally and all that towards my kids. And I nobody would, like, if you had told me or someone else had told me that this is the perception of my kids about me, I wouldn't have believed it till I heard it from my daughter, and I knew that I needed to unburden a lot from my heart. And
yeah,
it's been, alhamdulillah, not that I won't still caution them or be firm if I need to, but
yeah,
I started pushing them to their dad. When I need to react, I won't react. I just go meet your dad.
yeah,
Report yourself to him, and also let him for once be the bad cop and I be the good cop and all
yeah.
those things. Yeah.
Again, something I can 100% relate with, just thinking about how they see the reaction, but they don't understand the triggers. They don't
Yes.
understand that maybe there's something else going on with mom.
Mhm.
Maybe she's tired. It's now I hear mom is not okay. Maybe she's tired. My children
Mhm.
make excuses,
For
but it's
me,
from a
yeah.
place of do they really understand or they're just holding on to the nearest possible thing. I find that when I snap at them and I come back and I explain, like, guys, I'm really sorry. I was tired. That's what happened. They assume that that's the reason every other time that I snap. So that's all they hold on to, the one
Yeah.
explanation I'd given
Yeah.
them. It just helps me to be a little more conscious. So
Mhm.
I want you to talk a bit about what your support system has looked like outside of your family. Like from listening to you talk, you have a very solid biological family, like the one that you were born into, and you're raising a solid family with the one that you're raising right now.
Yeah.
Where is the place of friends? Where is the place of community outside of family? Like sometimes we want to onboarding, we want our husbands to be that outlet, but they don't get it. Sometimes
No.
they just don't get it. Sometimes it's another woman who is in a similar situation as you that you can two of you get it. Like you're on the same page. Like you're talking to me now, and it's like you're
Mhm.
describing some of the things happening in my house.
Yeah.
If I were having this conversation with my husband, I'm sure we would have argued 3 times already. Because okay, babe, what do you mean by what you just said? I don't understand. Like, how can you not understand? That's simple. See how
Yeah.
easily it's flowing with another woman because
Yeah.
we both get it. What is the place? What would you say is the importance of having that community, that support system from other like-minded people outside of our families?
When I started my social media YouTubing thing, it was more of skincare, makeup stuff, but I evolved into vlogging. And when I started vlogging, more women like me, Muslim, not Muslim, mothers, Nigerians most especially, and Africans started to see the vlog, and I'm showcasing my life, how I get my kids to school. The behind the scene nobody ever knows because it's all edited, right? But I started to have first of all, even before that, my community friendship is almost non-existent. I have just one Nigerian friend here that lives 40 minutes away from me.
Wow.
Exactly. So, and where there are other Nigerians that I could be friends with, the attitude of our people, there is that not
Yes, yes,
opening up.
sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, there is that not opening up. They don't want to be friends. Perhaps they think you might just be a burden to them, but they don't understand where that coexistence can also help with balancing our lives out.
Mhm.
But once I transitioned into vlogging and all that, and more women like me started to, connect with my kind of content, I started to receive lots of DMs, and I started to make more friends online. And it has become a lot more in recent times with all the moving, relocation and everything.
Mhm.
So people, I think maybe when people are looking for online support, then my channel can come up and they say, come to my DM and be like, oh, I'm moving here, this is what I want to know what to expect when I come. I want to know what to expect when I come. And honestly, to some, I give them the real, I assess, I try to hear where they are coming from, what do you have right now, and what are you coming to do? And this this is what to expect. You're not going to come and you go knock on your neighbor's door and automatically they become your friends.
True that.
So in some environments, your neighbors might not even want you there because you look nothing like them, you sound nothing like them, and it will take more work for you to establish friendship with them. So
With
that
people
was
like that,
actually
yeah.
why I felt okay with all these ask and people making me their go-to auntie online. Why not I start the Wholesome Lifestyle Network? We are only whole when our heart is whole. If our heart is not whole, productivity, self, and everything is not going to work in our favor, and you won't even be able to start. So, with the Wholesome Lifestyle Network, is from my idea behind it is to actually start to build community for women in diaspora, and wherever you're moving to, the first thing that will get hit and affected is your mental balance, whether within 1 month, within 2 years, within 5 years, there's going to be that moment for you. And I that is why I also came up with the whole session that we're going to be having next week to help women start accepting what their new normal is and doing it in a way where solution is readily available to them. And you have to know what the problem is before you actually find a solution. Some don't even want to agree that they are struggling. Some don't want to agree when it comes to our relationship with our spouses. Transfer of aggression is probably be attributed to that emotional heaviness that you have in your heart. Transfer of aggression towards children is still an indication of something deeper than just what is happening in that moment. And I figured I can't be the one providing such healing and such this thing. I can only but provide a platform and use that platform to consciously curate sessions and events that people can come and just build a community, be a self, be like sometimes it is even hard for you to have a moment to yourself.
True.
Because I mean, I can't remember. I had to start being the one doing my pedicures myself, not because I know how to do it, because I can't even depend on my schedule to make out time for me to go to the
To
salon or
go
to
to
the
the
spa
spa,
and all
yeah.
those things. So these things that is very hard for us to really accomplish when you have a community that you are a part of, it allows you to have something at the tip of your finger that you can easily reach out to for support,
That's
and
amazing.
dump your heart, dump things, ask questions, seek for help if you so need to. And yeah, that is basically what it is.
So it's basically a platform where professionals meet the people who need them, where it's basically like woman meet your resources. This is how you can find balance, right?
This is how you can find balance. For our next week session, like I said, I'm not a therapist. I'm not anybody. People are forcing me to
You
be a
cannot
therapist
see it's there, Jamila.
because
It is there. Like me just listening to you, it's almost like, please, how can I join this thing? How can I sign up? So maybe
because
that should be the next question for you. Like, if people want to join like this, the wholesome network, like what's the next step for somebody who's willing to join? Do you have
okay,
a
so
link that you can share in the comment section? I can pin that on the screen as well for people.
um check your phone for a link. But to be a member of the Wholesome Lifestyle Network is totally different from attending our curated
Sessions.
sessions.
Okay.
Yeah, so my very first session was actually in March, where I held a 1 month weekly session for women, for Muslim women, to be able to build their spirituality up, because that is one thing that we struggle with, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim. Your spirituality is going to get affected at some point, because the moment there is that thing that you lose when you start becoming a mom. At least if you're in Nigeria, you have people you can drop your children to and go to church, or you carry them and go to church with them. I have heard people that would say that, oh, I'm not going to church. I don't feel like going to church today. And it's not normal for you to not feel like you don't want to go to church.
Mhm.
There is just that thing, that void, that emptiness that is triggering something like this. As a Muslim, we can go a whole month without opening the Quran to recite. And it shouldn't feel normal for you to not want to open the Quran to recite or even wake up for your early morning prayers. But because of so much that you have to deal with day in, day in, day out, it really takes away from the quality of your mental health, your productivity, and your desires to do things that you would normally do that were normal, and you didn't have to try to push yourself twice as hard to get those things done. So when we had that session, it was really fantastic, and I'm so happy that people were able to, people came back. Thank you for this. I am doing better now. Ramadan is over. I can read my Quran. I'm taking something like that. So Grappling Mental Health is going to be our first ever lifestyle curated session, which is to address loneliness, fear, and depression, because these are the immediate things that can affect your mental health when you're in a new environment.
Okay.
I won't be chairing it. I will be bringing in a mental health coach.
Professional.
Yeah, a mental health professional and coach. She's also an advocate for women. I love her so much. Her name is Coach Didi. She's based in Nigeria. I want this to be for our familiar, to have women like ourselves that can really relate to our worries and our conditions and situations and be able to provide solution. It's going to be non-diagnostics, but by the time she talks to us, I'm sure we will be able to pick one or two things, or even have that reawakening of where you truly are in terms of your mental well-being, and from there you can start looking for solutions, or actively looking for ways to get yourself in a better state of mind. You are only you. There is no two or few out there, and I want to believe that we are all women of purpose, and we just don't want the things of life to take us away from our purpose. Having a family is a beautiful thing. Being married to the right person is a beautiful thing. Having children is a beautiful thing.
Mhm.
They are not the problems. you know
Um,
it looks like they are, but it's there is something deeper than
yeah.
just trying to feel like, oh, the reason why I'm not looking beautiful today is because, oh, I couldn't bath this morning, or the reason why I didn't get on enough sleep is because, yeah, I mean, those things are real. They are real struggles. But how long will we continue to blame these?
Other things.
Yeah,
Yeah. Other
once you
people.
find a comfortable place to pour your blames on, you just stay there,
Mhm.
and you just really don't want to look ahead and find the real cause. Yeah.
Okay. So I've put a link in the chat if you're interested in signing up in registering for the platform that Jamila just shared about. You can use the link that's on the screen to just go there and check what's there, what applies, what's available, and what you're interested in. You can register, you can sign up for upcoming sessions, just so that you're not alone. Because isolation is really a big problem. It
It
is a
is.
big problem, especially for those of us who are not in our home countries. I mean, the emphasis is on for even people who are living in Nigeria now are experiencing some kind of isolation. So you don't have to even be living abroad
True.
to crave network, to crave support, to crave community. It's almost like there's an inherent need, especially for us as women, to feel connected to other communities of people, especially for like-minded people who you can lean on and depend on
Mhm.
for some kind of support. So please go check it out. I'll be checking it out myself and checking just which sessions I can join as a participant, maybe which session I can join, maybe as a moderator, as a speaker.
We can have you
Since all of
listen
you
to
have crowned me
listen
coach,
to Pastor Kingsley and become that, because you need to come and chair one of our sessions.
I
Come
have
next
been
year.
crowned
Like,
coach. They call me coach, life
in
coach,
short, I
marriage
should bring
coach.
you. I should bring you on for the August section, parenting the diaspora child. I should
Ah,
bring you
okay.
on for that, because
It's all right.
that is another one that we have
So
coming
please,
up in
you
August.
guys go and
Yeah.
sign up so that the day they say I should come and lead one of the sessions, I'll have my people there to cheer me on. I will not go and disgrace you people. Please just use the link on the screen to register, sign up, and it will be great for us to. I mean, I crave community as well because people just see me as, oh, she has a big community on YouTube. But the truth of the matter is that sometimes there's also that inherent need of, I want my own personal community where I can just crawl, go to their house, go to the basement, all of us can just goof around. I have
Mhm.
friends that happens with, but I'm wondering, like, this should be something that everyone has. Like every woman should have that place where we can just say, okay, today is Mother's Day. Everybody wear your Sunday best. Let's go and shut one restaurant in Saskatoon down. Let them wonder, like, who are these people?
I hear
Where
you
did
are
they
wearing
come
black
from?
t-shirt and talking to me.
I'm here, sitting down, you too. Carry my orange hair and just wear my best. Can you imagine what that would look like? Like you're in a restaurant in Canada and you see women dressed to the T, complete with gele and makeup and lashes that are like this.
Fun.
But that's what we don't do. We save those clothes for when there's an important occasion. But what other
Yeah.
occasion is really more important than this one day that we have here that is set aside? Just celebrate yourself as a mom for the
True.
work that you do, for all the things that you do, for the many hats that you wear, you know. And I was just using this opportunity to really just celebrate all the moms that are on the calls with us.
Yeah.
Our reward is not here. In the words of my dear friend, that the bulk of our reward is in heaven. Because it's not because the people around us here are ungrateful. They
Mhm.
cannot afford to pay us. If you really
Mm.
want to put dollar figures to it, I don't think there's anybody here that can
No.
adequately pay us for the work that we do, for the hats that we wear, for all the many responsibilities that we take on, even when we're not okay ourselves. So moms, please take a moment today to just celebrate yourself. Pat yourself on the back. You are doing an amazing job.
You
You
all
are
are.
doing
You
an
all are.
amazing
Happy
job. Give
Mother's Day,
yourself a hug.
especially. Yeah.
Give yourself a hug today. Pat yourself on the back. We did try. It's not
Yeah.
easy.
Mm-hmm.
It is so not easy. On those days where you want to put your children up for sale, but you did not do it, I celebrate you. For those days where I felt like putting my husband on Facebook Marketplace, say, I beg,
Don't
when I
try,
bought
not with Mr. E. Oh, please don't go there. We
Mr.
will
A is
fight
a
you.
troublemaker.
We will
I
fight you on that. We will fight you on that, not Mr.
have to
E.
find a way. This man now
Come
has
and
more
carry my
fans.
last
He has
born.
more fans on my channel than I do. I'm not angry. It's okay. But these you people's Mr. A, sometimes the man be find me trouble. Some days I can't get enough of this man. Some other days I'm like, oh my God, where
But
did
he's
I
still
see
the
this
best
man?
thing after sliced bread.
Please, Facebook Marketplace, free delivery. In fact, I will pay you. Come and take.
We don't want.
No,
Hold
but
your
like you
hold.
said, in spite of all of that, he's still one of the
Yeah.
best decisions ever. And I could not be
Yeah.
more grateful for him.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Jamila, as we begin to round this up, amazing. We've been talking for almost an hour. As we begin to round this up, what are your final words to the moms on the call? What would you like to share with people as our parting thoughts on this conversation?
Honestly, like I said before, you can never give from an empty cup. You have to fill yourself up all the time. The love, the care, the attention, the advocacy. I love to use the word advocacy. If you like, call me a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, but it is one thing that I do so much in my marriage and with the people that know me, and they feel like, oh, there is no winning an argument with me. But when it comes to me, I come first in everything that I do. It might seem there are days where it will creep in, that imposter syndrome, that second guessing yourself. You are exactly on a journey that God wants you to be on. You cannot go faster than yourself. Don't be like me that was cooking Wednesday food on a Tuesday, even though I decided that I was not going to cook on Tuesday again. Yeah, that is the mother there. That is the wife there. That is me embracing my role. And even though I enjoy doing it, on Wednesday came and I still did not cook. you know, listen to your body, listen to your mind. If it feels wrong, it is wrong. And
Right.
that is an indication that you should look for answers to those feelings. Um, do what works for you. Like, our children are going to go on in their lives.
Yeah.
At some point, if they look 8 today, if you close your eyes tomorrow, they are 16 and out the door. Our husbands, our spouses will be all that we have left. Make sure your husband or your spouse is your best friend in this moment. And if you've not started befriending them, start all over again. It's never too late for that. My husband is my best friend. I can pull his hair, drag his tail, and at the same time, I can still hammer on him and make him feel the worst and still go back and rub his head and make him feel like the absolute best.
Yeah.
I love myself. I'm not afraid to admit that. And I always think about myself. And please do for yourself, no matter how little it is. One thing that is usually a hard start is starting something about you, like career, business, whatever, no matter how little it is, even if it is water you package and sell from your, keep your mind busy, keep your head busy, keep your body busy. And I pray that those nagging feelings, those things that you feel inside of you, that God gives each and every one of you listening to this clarity. I pray that you find direction and purpose in what you do. And I pray that God's protective hands will be on our spouses, will be on our children and our family, wherever they may be, whatever struggles that we have. I pray that God intercedes for us today and forever. Thank you all so much for joining this session with Marina. Marina is my girl, and today we try to be sane. Another time is not going to be this sane. We're just
Yeah.
going to let our heads down and have
Yeah.
fun here.
Thank you so much, Jamila. Like, there's nothing else to add to what you just said. The one other thing I'm just going to point out to women is, look, hard truth is that you are replaceable. As much as
Oh,
we think if they remove you from the picture, everything is going to fall apart, sweetheart.
wow. Mhm.
Believe me, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
I shared earlier about the story of somebody who was like literally the bedrock of her family. This woman passed away. 4 people were hired to replace her. Somebody else is going to do the work. So that whole I'm doing this for my family, to the point where you suffocate yourself and you pass away, you will be replaced. So please, sis, while you're doing all of this for your family, put yourself on the priority list. Shift your name to the top of that your priority list. It's okay for you to be selfish. Self-care is not the same thing as selfishness, I recognize. But if you have to come to the point where you're selfish so that you are sane, so that you are whole and you will have something to give, it is okay for you to be selfish like that. Please
Absolutely.
prioritize yourself. Please prioritize your health. Let's not have moms who are falling apart. Because if you're falling apart, you are not being 100% to anybody else. If you are
Mm,
not whole yourself, you cannot be whole to anybody else. If you are struggling, it is showing up in the way you are a mom. It will show up in the way you are a wife. It will show up in the way you even show up at work if you have paid employment. So please prioritize yourself. Prioritize yourself. Your family will be okay. Find what your deal breaker is. Everything cannot be 100% perfect all the time. Make peace with 60%. It's okay. Make peace with 50%. It's okay. If what you want is 1 to 10, if you have 5, are you going to be okay with it? Make peace with that. Let's not insist on 100% all the time and then become a burden to ourselves and you become a terror in your house and everybody's running from you. Let's not do that. So please, sis, prioritize yourself. You can be replaced. You are replaceable. So please don't make yourself alpha and omega where you are not. It is only God that is irreplaceable for us. It is only God that is all sufficient. You are not. You are limited. So think about that and think about yourself. When you keep going and pushing and burning yourself on both ends of the candle, one day you're going to fall apart. So, no, sir, let's not do that, okay? Thank you very much, everyone, for joining this session. It was great chatting with you, Jamila. This was very enlightening, even for me. Hopefully, one day I can have a session where we can have people join the conversation live and let's just hear real life stories of other people for what they are willing to share. I
thank
really enjoy it when I hear other people's perspectives. So this was really nice learning from you and just listening and learning from your experience as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone. Please don't forget to use the link on the screen to sign up for Jamila's platform. I'll be doing the same as well because I crave that community and you should too. Okay. Happy Mother's Day again to all of you. Please take time to do something for yourself today. Put your feet up. Don't do dishes. Nobody's going to die. Just enjoy TV. Watch all your favorite TV shows today. Don't
Marina's
let anybody
orders
bother
is
you. Yes.
prescription.
If your husbands complain, please show them this video that I said so. They should come and beat me.
Exactly.
Okay.
Mr. Eteng, we hit them one knock, they 10 die.
Have you seen my husband's hand? Come and try me now, see. Okay.
Thank you
Thank
so
you very
much for
much,
having me.
everyone. I'll
Thank
see you in the
you.
next video. Bye,
Sure.
guys.
Bye.